Oh, that was okay. Yo, what is up? What is up? It's me, your boy, and like I said, I told you I would be back sooner rather than later. So here I am, and I am ready to jump right into this chapter, um, because this I've heard it's amazing. So without further ado, oh, also the only reason I'm doing this right now is because my daughter is sound asleep upstairs. So, thank goodness she is such a good sleeper for now. And I just couldn't be more thankful. So that way I could enjoy this incredible chapter. Everyone's been telling me, hey, you got to get on this. So, consider me getting on it right now. Um, so let's let's jump right into it because I am so ready for this. All right, let's check it out. So, if you're following along with me, it is down. I had it. Oh, wow, I am bad at this. Uh, what am I doing? Okay, down here. Oh my God, I'm crazy with this. Down here in the corner is where I'm reading it, and my logo's over it, so it kind of doesn't get copyright striked. So let's let's get into it because I just know it's gonna be good. So we have One Piece, Chapter 1164, Davy Blood, and it says reader request: Perona chasing a rabbit with a watch. Oh, it's supposed to be like Alice in Wonderland. That's actually kind of cool. And then I forget what this rabbit's name is. Shit. Randolph. Randolph. Hell yeah. I was I was trying to remember. So, yep, she is chasing Randolph, and what's interesting is there is a castle in the back and has Mihawk, and he's got like fucking shades on, looking like a goon. And her hollows have bunny ears too. That's pretty cool. Um, but yeah, interesting reader request. Very Alice in Wonderland, which really fits in with Whole Cake Island's theme. So, anyway, the chapter is Davy Blood, and I am ready to enjoy this one. So, without further ado, let's get into it. And we see Emu holding up Zebek, and all of a sudden, he's like, ah, and Whitebeard's like, what is it, Rocks? And Roger's like, did our attacks do nothing to that spider? And Garp, he's just, hmm. And same with Whitebeard, Kaido, and Big Mom's like, what's going on here? And Emu's trying to Domi Reversey this guy. And he says, persistent thou art. And it says, wheeze, wheeze. Don't downplay the power of humanity, monster. And Emu's looking at him with his crazy eyes. Oh, shit. Oh, and we get to see a half Domi reversed Yo Rocks saying Davy D. Jones was once the king of the world. Yo, this is fucking nuts. Oh man, he looks so crazy. And Emu gets pissed. Oh man. And Emu's just like, silence. He was never king, not for an instant. The grievance between Moo and Davy has nothing to do with thee. Yo, he's getting pissed, dog. Yo, I love that Rox is resisting this. Yo, this is tough. This is tough. I was hoping that he would put up a fight. I didn't think that he was completely immune, but I thought that he could put up a fight. And then someone says, then, oh, and Rock says, then why are you so panicked over something as trivial as the Davy name? And Rock says, it's kept you terrified for years, hasn't it? The thought that Davy's will might be passed down and one day come for you to fulfill the promise. Dude, this is so tough. Holy fuck. Man, I knew it. I knew that he was going to be tough. Oh, here we go. Here we go. What's more frightening to you? Davy D. Jones or Joy Boy? Oh, fuck yeah. Yo, Emu is so mad. Cease thy dreaming. Their kind will never be seen again once I have eradicated thee. And then Emu says, "Mm." He says, I have found excellent soldiers to serve Moo, Davy. Gigantic, harmless, and conflicted. And Rock says, the giants, you fool. Don't mess with Harold. They only want peace. And Emu says, indeed, a golden opportunity. Such a willing puppet of a king will never come along twice. And Rock says, no. And Emu says, just like thee, in fact, now. Just like thee, in fact. Now stop wasting time. Mm, this is so crazy. This chapter is fucking nuts. Like off rip, just absolute bananas. And Emu says, and bring an end to the dream of Davy. And what? Rox shouts, ah, and then hits the ground. And they're like, huh, Rox? And Big Mom's like, what did it do to you? What happened up there, Rox? And Rox is saying, damn it, I'm going to disappear. And then Big Mom's like, huh? And then Rox gets up and says, "End Davy by," or Emu says, "End Davy by thy own hand. Now erase all life that was involved with God Valley." And Rox is like, got so much crazy aura. And Big Mom's like, huh? Did you get bigger? And oh, he looks like he has wings too. And Rock says, all of you, move it. There is blood that must be erased from history. And he like jumps up in the air. Um, and like it looks like he stabs Kaido right in the nose. And he says, Yow. And then uh Kaido says, hey Rox, what are you? And then all of a sudden it's like, huh? And he like throws Kaido's face into the rocks. And they're like, Kaido. And Kaido's like knocked out. And then Big Mom's like, damn you, Rocks. Are you turning on your own people? and she just gets put like real quick, like, and she's like, ugh. And Whitebeard, without hesitation, it goes dot dot dot. It says, "Is that all we are to you, rocks? Impediment, impediments?" And he's like, "Yes." And Whitebeard's like, "I motherfucker," and literally just quakes the clash with rocks, and they're just like clashing, and there's Conqueror's hockey everywhere, and the Marines are just like, "Huh? Yo, this is fucking nuts, dude." And the quake makes half of the God Valley that's split just start falling towards the water. Ugh, crazy. And someone's like, "Run for your lives! The mountain's coming down!" And you see rocks, and he sees like, and there's like all these people running, and then we see Eris and Teach, and it says, "All battleships along the northeast shore, withdraw and keep your distance." It says northeast shore, and the celestial dragons are like, "That was dangerous. Who should we punish allowing this to happen?" What a, what a dick. And the Marines are like, "Quickly, please, this way, everyone." And the Celestials are like, "Don't you dare leave without us, or we'll have you all put to death." It says, "Hurry, my lords." And then on the southwest part of the island, we see um, Rayleigh or someone saying something like, "Hurry up, Rayleigh, this island's doomed." And then uh, he's got like bat wings, and he's not Domi Reversied. But Rayleigh's like, "Roger better be all right in there." And then all of them are running. Is that John? Maybe. It says, "Treasure, treasure. Can you believe how much there is?" And then someone's like, "Whoa, it's a dead end." And someone said, "Make it snappy." Yeah, this chapter, I'm breezing through this, is so crazy. And then we see Dragon like pounding at the ground saying, "Damn it. I can't even save a single baby. Where did he go?" And then Ivankov's like, "You have to stop, Kuma. If you keep going, you'll put us in danger." Ugh. And then Jenny's like, "Kuma Chi." And Kuma's like, "There might still be lives I can save." Huff huff. And then Kuma sees someone and says, "Oh, a person." And then we see John covered in blood. Just say, "Curses, stupid Ganzui." And then you see Ganzui on his back, and it says, "Shiki, is there even any escape off this island?" And Shiki's like, "Jihaha, you thought you could get the best of me?" And someone says, "All forces to the shore. We need stretchers. I can't get there. The woods are on fire." Bro, utter pandemonium. utter pandemonium. So crazy. Oh shit. And then we see something crazy. We see rocks ripping through trees and sees Eris and says, Zebek, you look just like. And it's like, so you lost then? I'm sorry, dear. Off in order. You had to face off in order to save us, but it was too early, wasn't it? And you see Eris say, "Oh, Teach," and then Teach is like, "Hmm," with like dot exclamation points. And Air says, "We'll jump into the sea. We just have to swim. Whatever it takes to keep the Davy blood alive." And then Rox is behind her and says, "You have to survive no matter what it takes. Escape." And someone says, "Escapees at the shore." And there, Rox is about to cut down Eris. And the Marines start shooting cannonballs at Eris and Teach. And then Kuma jumps in front and poofs them both away. And then Kuma poofs himself. And then the attack blows away that Marine ship. And then Rox gets hit with a barrage. Dude, this is crazy. And then Emu's like, dot, dot, dot. And then it says, "Continue, Davy. Snuff out every light of life left on the island." And then one of the Marines says, "Hurry up, Vice Admiral Garp. There's no time." And Garp says, "No, you hurry. How many are still on the island?" And then someone says, "Where are you now, Roger?" And Roger says, "I'm fine. Once everyone's on the ship, let me know. Got that?" And Rox is just destroying everyone. And it's the people that he's cutting down are like, stop it, Rox. And they're like, Rox. And says, "Why does he look like that?" And then we see um Garp and Roger, and they just unleash all this Conqueror's hockey. And Emu's like, "Davy." And then Rock shows up, and Garp says, "Look what a mess you are." And Roger says, "Can't let you go after my crew." And they're just staring there. And it says, "Roger, Garp." And Roger's like, "What's that voice?" And Garp's like, "Huh?" And it says, "Help me." And they're like, "Huh? Why do you look like that?" And then Rox is tear crying, saying, "Please, just kill me." And they're like, "Huh?" And then he charges at them. Oh man, so they use the voice of all things to hear him cry out for that. But them releasing their Conqueror's hockey, then and fucking Emu saying Davy. Man. Wow. What a fucking chapter, dude. What a chapter. Like that that was fantastic. My God. You know, I often when I had my theory about Rox and Roger and Garp at God Valley, I had the different thought process. I thought that maybe Garp and Roger were the ones who were controlled to kill Rox because I originally had a theory called the command of all things that was a hockey power that let Emu control someone's will, like basically inputting their will into the person that they wanted, and then they could override their will. And like this is basically that, but it might not so much be hockey as it is a devil fruit, or it could be a combination of the two. But this is rocks being used in that way to wipe out the Davy clan. And that's just fucking insane. I mean, just crazy. So, I mean, fuck, dude. All right, let's start from the top. Let's go over this bad boy. All right, so cover story, interesting, not really, but it's cool to see reader requests. The fact that Emu basically used this power to um attack Zebek and control him, but Zebek fought back and was still able to talk. And this whole thing of him being like, the what frightens you more, Davy D. Jones or Joy Boy? Just goes to show that obviously they're two different people, which is very interesting. And the fact that Emu's like, I'm going after the Giants because Harold's a fool. And Rox is like, no, like that's my friend. Just crazy. And then Rox just one shotting Kaido, then one shotting Big Mom, and then clashing with Whitebeard. And it just like causes a part of the island to completely fracture. But we don't see what happens to Whitebeard after that. So, but still, pretty fucking tough, not gonna lie. Man. Mm. And then just all the people figuring out who's where and stuff like that. And then the Kuma part too, just being like, there's a person over there. And Eris just being a real one, being like, but it was too early, wasn't it? Because he obviously said, like, yo, bet I'll be back. But it was too early. And Emu pulled up on him. And the fact that Rox got attacked and he basically probably regened, but like Kuma just being built different like that and poofing them both away and then himself, like as he's about to kill them, just MVP, dude. MVP. And this whole thing of Rocks basically using like the voice of all things to communicate that he's wants them to kill him because he can't control himself. Just it's heartbreaking, man. It really is. This chapter was crazy. And honestly, this might be a 10 out of 10. This might be a 10 out of 10. Like this is crazy good. So, I mean, I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. There wasn't a single moment that I was like boring. It was like all gas, no brakes for real. So, yeah, man, that's such a good chapter. There were so many amazing things. I'll probably have to sit with this one for a little bit. I'll probably have to think about it. I might even make some theory videos. I might even talk about some of this stuff. Like this is insane. So, I'm so happy. Uh I'm so happy that this is where we're at. And then just next chapter, most likely, I don't know if there's a break week, but most likely will also be just like Roger and Garp putting Zebek down. Just gonna be kind of crazy. So, I this also just makes me go like Garp kind of sucks more. Just because like he sees what the world government just did to Zebek, and the fact that he has to now kill Zebek because of this is just kind of shitty. So I don't know. Just maybe that's my take on it, but yeah, not a fan of Garp ever. But I mean, again, he's strong, he's cool, but like as a character, as like a person, like as a thing that exists in the One Piece world, he's kind of whack because he should have left the Marines, especially after God Valley. Um, and like also this whole thing, and I feel like I forgot to mention it, this whole moment with Dragon basically feeling worthless about not being able to save a single baby is also a really great motivator for the future for Dragon. So I just love to see it. I do. And now I wonder what happened to Eris as well. Yeah. So oh goodness. All right. Well, that is my thoughts on the chapter. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Um, it was a crazy chap, and I'm just super excited, and I'm excited to see if there's a break week. This seems like something that Oda would put on a break week right beforehand, so I wouldn't put it past him. But if there's no break, this is gonna be crazy next week. So. As always, guys, please try to like, follow, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Follow me on my other social media in the link tree down below. Um, and as always, I am your boy Nerdtaku, and I love talking One Piece. And it's better as a conversation, and I love having that conversation with you guys. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I will reply.